All right, let's get right into it. Every time you grab a perfect apple, a beautiful flower, or, a carton of strawberries, what you're really holding is the end result of this hidden, high-stakes battle. This isn't your grandfather's farm anymore. We're talking advanced science, robotics, and some serious strategy. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain on modern horticulture.
It all really starts with a simple question, one we almost never stop to ask ourselves. How on earth is it possible to get these perfect, fresh strawberries year-round? I mean, just a few decades ago, that was a summer-only thing. Well, the answer isn't simple, and it reveals this incredibly complex system that's working just out of our sight.
And this brings us to what I like to call the perfect plant paradox. It's this fundamental conflict between what we expect as shoppers and the huge, invisible challenges that growers have to overcome to meet those expectations. So here's the paradox in a nutshell. We've grown to expect flawless, affordable plants and produce, available 365 days a year, no exceptions. But for the person growing it, getting that perfection means fighting a war every single day on multiple fronts against wild weather, powerful markets, and a whole army of microscopic enemies.
So let's dig into the first set of pressures, right? These are often the most unpredictable and, frankly, destructive ones: climate and biology. We're talking about the fundamental forces of nature that growers are constantly trying to outsmart.
Yeah, forget about predictable seasons. For growers today, crazy volatile weather isn't some rare event, it's just the new normal. We're talking sudden heat waves, freak frosts, insane downpours. Any one of these can wipe out months of hard work in just a few hours. It makes planning for the future incredibly difficult. To really get a sense of the scale here, just look at this number: 216,000. That's how many punnets of strawberries a single farm lost. After one heavy rainstorm, the fruit was just too damaged to sort. It was a complete and total loss. Imagine that financial hit from just one storm. Climate change also creates these sneakier problems, like messing with a tree's chilling requirement. Basically, a tree, like a peach tree, it needs a certain number of cold hours in the winter to kind of, reset its internal clock. It tells the tree when to wake up and make flowers in the spring. But with warmer winters, that requirement isn't always met, and that leads to a poor harvest or sometimes no fruit at all. And beyond the weather, there's this microscopic war being waged every single day. The biological battlefield is just relentless. It's filled with pests and diseases that can travel on the wind and a drop of water or even on a single dirty boot, and they can threaten an entire operation. Growers are basically playing defense against a whole host of invisible threats. You've got exotic pests that have no natural predators here. You've got pathogens in the soil that can kill a plant from the roots up and make that land useless for years. And then there are viruses that can sneak in with just one batch of new plants. This is exactly why biosecurity in a modern nursery is as tight as it is at an international airport. Seriously. Okay, so growers are battling Mother Nature, but they're also up against an equally powerful force: the modern retail market. And trust me, the economic pressures can be just as damaging as a hailstorm. This chart tells the whole story. In a market like Australia, just two big supermarket chains control somewhere between 70 and 80% of all fresh vegetable sales. Now think about that. When just two buyers control that much of the market, it gives them an incredible amount of power over thousands of individual growers. And all that power translates directly into this. This quote from an industry report just nails it. This brutal pricing pressure means that even while a grower's costs for things like fuel and labor are going up, the price they get for their produce can actually stagnate or even go down. And on top of that price pressure, you've got the demand for cosmetic perfection. A carrot that's a little bit bent, a tomato with a tiny blemish, it's often rejected. We're talking about perfectly good food, but because it doesn't look like it came out of a mold, it gets turned away. This costs farmers an estimated $30 million a year and, of course, adds to a massive food waste problem. So the pressure is absolutely immense. But growers are not passive victims here. No way! They are fighting back with an incredible arsenal of science and technology. So let's take a look inside the modern grower's high-tech toolbox.
A fantastic example of this evolution is just how we water plants. The old way, those big overhead sprinklers, it's like a rainstorm. It gets everything wet, it can waste up to 80% of the water, and it's a great way to spread fungal diseases. The new way is surgical. Precision systems like drip lines or these things called ebb and flow benches, they deliver water and nutrients directly to the roots. It saves a ton of water and keeps the leaves dry and healthy. It's a game changer.
The approach to pests has gotten way smarter, too. Instead of just blasting everything with harsh chemicals, many growers now use what's called integrated pest management, or IPM. It's a much more strategic, multi-step approach. First, you're constantly monitoring and scouting. Then you release beneficial insects, literally the good bugs that eat the bad bugs. And only as a last resort do you use targeted, softer chemicals. It's about using your brain, not just brute force. Now, one of the single biggest expenses on any farm is labor. It can eat up to 40% of a grower's total costs, especially for those delicate jobs like picking fruit. This is a massive economic vulnerability, and it is driving some of the most exciting innovations in the entire industry.
And one of the coolest solutions to this labor problem is the 2D fruit wall. So instead of growing a big, bushy, three-dimensional tree, growers are now training apples and other fruits to grow on a flat, vertical plane, almost like a hedge. It's a brilliant design. Not only does it maximize sunlight for better fruit, but it makes the entire orchard robot-ready, perfectly designed for the automated harvesters of the near future. And this automation is already here. It's totally transforming the nursery, which is the starting point for most of these plants. You've got robotic potting machines that can fill thousands of pots an hour with perfect consistency. Automated conveyor belts move plants along the production line. This tech sets a predictable, incredibly efficient pace that human labor just can't match, and it ensures every single plant gets a uniform, perfect start.
So what does all this mean for you and me? When we put all these pieces together, the incredible challenges and the mind-blowing solutions, it should completely change how we see the food we eat and the plants we buy.
That apple in your hand, it is not a simple piece of fruit. It's a little marvel of technology. It represents a victory over wild weather, over biological threats, and over brutal market forces. It is a testament to the incredible science, the engineering, and just the sheer resilience of the modern grower. So the next time you walk through a grocery store or a garden center, I want you to just think about this. Is that plant just a simple product, or is it something more? Is it maybe a tiny, edible, beautiful piece of the future delivered to you against all odds?